Welcome to Same Spit, Different Face TV. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinions, you can start your own podcast. And it's free. So don't forget to spit on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification. Spit Squad, let's talk Diddy. Diddy is in some big trouble, man. Diddy's name has been mentioned. And where has it been mentioned? Somewhere where I'm sure Diddy don't want his name to be mentioned, and it's the Tupac murder case. Diddy named 77 times by prosecutors in Tupac Shakur's murder document as suspect accuses him of ordering hit on rapper. So when we look at this situation, Keefe D not trying to spend the rest of his life in jail. We've seen Keefe D give up information again. So what make you think he's not gonna give up information now? Show some love, brother love. Remember what he said in that Vlad TV interview, and I think that I said this in an old video. That video might be deleted now since I rebranded my channel and I took a lot of videos down. But I basically said, yo, Keefe D, if he's smart, he's going to play into the fact that the media wants Diddy. He's going to play into the fact that, hey, Diddy is on the chopping block and he's went around in all of these videos and said Diddy tried to pay him or Diddy gave money to this person. And I think when you look at this situation, Keefe D probably went in there and tried to say, hey, it was just entertainment. I was lying. That didn't really happen. I was just trying to sell a book. I was just trying to get a money. And then when that didn't happen, they said, listen, bro, you're not walking your way up out of this. You lied your way out of it the first time, but this time you said too much. We got you, but it's somebody else we want. And they basically want Diddy. So I don't see Diddy beating this, but it's a possibility that Diddy could beat this, but I don't see him beating it. When you look at the situation, it's motive there. What's the motive? The motive is the East Coast, West Coast rivalry. Diddy and Suge Knight didn't get along. It was clearly a feud between the two camps. Keefe D is the connecting factor. He said that P. Diddy put a hit on Tupac. And he said that I think the guy name is Von Zip collected the money from Diddy, and he was supposed to get money to Keefe D them, but he never did. But I think where they can get him there is the conspiracy to commit murder, because they can say, well, even though Keefe D and his people didn't get the money, Diddy intended for it to happen. Now, some of y'all also got to know intent matters in the law. I think they say intent is like 9/10 of the law. I think that's the phrase. But anyway, if you had a fake brick, right? I'm talking about a fake brick of cocaine, and you basically went out to try to sell it, and you sold it to an undercover detective, or you sold it to somebody else, you would still get charged for a brick, even though it's fake, because the intent of the other person was believing that you were buying cocaine, and you led them to believe, and you said that you were selling cocaine. So that's just how that go. But man, I want to say this, and I know some of y'all might not agree with it if y'all hear it now or hear it later, but prayers up for Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Prayers for the victims in his other cases, but prayers for Diddy, man. Prayers for Diddy kid. Now, one thing that can come good out of this is that maybe Diddy can, whatever happens out of this situation, maybe Diddy can find some redemption in it. Maybe he can talk to kids and young men how to carry themselves better. Maybe he can talk to women and young women and tell them what to watch out for when they meet man. This is whether he's innocent or guilty. I don't know whether he's innocent or guilty. Yes, I did see the tape of him abusing Cassie. That tape was horrible, but just because I saw one thing don't mean he's guilty of all things. And a lot of time, especially in today's society, we see a person being wrong of one thing and we just try to pile everything else on them. And that's not really how that works. And guess what? He's going to have his day in court, it appears. And when he does have his day in court, hey, the chips going to fall where they fall, and Diddy can blame nobody for what's happening to him but himself, because these are the actions that he took. Whether he did all of them or whether he did some of them or whether he did none of them, he allowed this door to stay open for him to be able to be put in this situation. And if I'm Diddy, if Diddy is understanding all of the bad things that he did to Cassie and he know they true, he should have settled out. But I'm gonna say I believe that Diddy thought that that tape would never resurface. Diddy was used to paying people for things. He'd do something. He'd allegedly pay them for it. It's been alleged that he paid $50,000 for the video that was released about Cassie being beat by Diddy, and it was never supposed to resurface again. But somebody there probably had a backup. Not probably, they definitely had a backup. And to be honest, the plan probably was to wait a few years down the line, take that video and blackmail Diddy again. But unfortunately for Diddy, and fortunately for the person who had the tape, even though it's slime ball behavior, they basically ended up seeing like, wait, well, what happened here? Oh, TMZ is talking about this. Maybe I can sell this video to TMZ. They sold it. But anyway, Diddy's name has been mentioned in Tupac case in Las Vegas. So the plot thickens and the web only gets stickier for Diddy. Chris Brown has been arrested for assault. It says on Saturday night in Fort Worth, entertainer Chris Brown, along with his entourage, attacked and brutally beat several men who had just attended his concert. Multiple police reports have been made. At least one of the men beaten remains hospitalized. Chris Brown has a long history of violence. He has been arrested or accused of assault at least 10 occasions. Enough. The Busby law firm filed suit this morning on behalf of the four men brutalized this last weekend in the hope of obtaining justice for these victims and putting an end once and for all to Brown's intolerable and thuggish behavior. Now, I don't like the guy calling Chris Brown a thug because that could be a cold word. We know what they do when they want to paint us as something. But if you're talking about the fights, I mean, it do fall under that behavior. It do fall under that category. Now, the one thing that's not being reported is he was allegedly at a Yellow Beezy concert, I believe it was. They were performing together. The initial report said Yellow Beezy name, but since Yellow Beezy isn't the biggest artist, his name will not be mentioned in the marquee of the report. It'll be down far somewhere ever you read, or it may even disappear after a while. So we look at this as possibly being a money hunt, but when you look at the money hunt, you have to understand that these guys are going to court to probably try to prosecute him. And so when we look at this situation, these guys probably obtained a lawyer. The lawyer probably said, hey, we want to settle out for you. It was probably an absorbent amount. Chris Brown probably said, I had nothing to do that. I was no way around, whatever the case may be. And the lawyer basically said, okay, let's take it to court. Let's take it to trial. And with Chris Brown's reputation, it's going to be hard for him to get anybody to believe anything for him, for anybody to think that he didn't do what they saying he did. And this is one of those moments where when your reputation precedes you, it can shine a bad light on you, but you hope when your reputation precedes you, it shines a good light on you. But when he's alluding to the violence, obviously he's alluding to Rihanna. And I wouldn't be surprised if when the official document came out, this lawyer probably mentions the fact that, you know, he beat Rihanna for that and he got probation for that case or whatever ended up happening behind that case. But just to be able to paint a narrative behind this case. And if I'm Chris Brown, when somebody comes and it's something that's violent, I have to settle out. I have to get this out of the headlines. And I understand that Chris Brown haven't been doing anything. He haven't been in the news, but also, at the same time, man, Chris Brown has painted himself as the sensitive, light-skinned guy. He's painted himself as the angry guy. Every time somebody says something about him on Instagram, he jumps out and says, on blood, on this, y'all better stop playing. I'll pull up, I'll do this, I'll do that. And yeah, it makes you look real to the women who out here, and it makes you look real to some of the men who out here. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, it paints a narrative of you being volatile. It paints a narrative of you being immature. It paints a narrative of you being irrational. And it also paints a narrative of a black man who's not able to control his emotions and act like the Incredible Hulk anytime somebody says something he don't like. So do I think that Chris Brown is going to win this case? The only way Chris Brown is going to win this case is if he has undeniable evidence that he didn't do what these people said. But if it's his word against theirs, he's going down and he's definitely going to lose this case. Prayers to everybody involved, man. This is definitely unnecessary. And Chris Brown is actually, man, he's not a kid anymore. And that's the real problem about this. Chris Brown is 35 years old, man. He need to hang it up. He need to hang up all the gang banging. I know in a certain faction of a game, you get to retire when you 30. I mean, when you 37, you get to retire in a certain gang literature. So what Chris Brown needs to be doing, man, is he need to try to find his exit. You can still be cool with the homies. If you paying the homies, still pay the homies. And I'm not saying homies like they my homies or like I'm affiliated with the B. I'm saying like they his homies. But if he's paying his homies for protection or he just paying them to be, whatever the case may be, you can continue to pay them, or you can just hire real security and move away from that lifestyle, man, because it's gonna have you in a world of trouble. And the more the years in the world move past us and we start getting to 2030, 31, 32, the world is gonna be a lot more sensitive, and it's gonna be a lot less tolerance for people to do these things. But not only that, it's going to be a lot less room for you to come back for your mistakes. The more time moves on, people are just going to be ready to exile people from society. And y'all going to have to get it together, man. But salute to Chris Brown, man. Very talented. Had the potential to become a Michael Jackson-esque figure, but because of the things he's done in his past, what he has paid for and he has apologized for, he's at this point where he's basically just a great singer and performer who's respected by his peers, respected by his fans, but the mainstream media treat him like, dog feces. Oh, look at that. I should probably get like 4 of these, bro. And the little Da Vinci, it's basic, but it's decent, though. Let's see what it is. 3? I'll probably get like 3 of these. Well, I'm probably finna just get my lady all of these right here. Christian Louis Vuitton. That one crazy right there. With Chanel number 5. What a Burberry store. Oh, there you go, right there. ESTG's manager was killed in Louisville, and the news says WDRB reports that ESTG's manager, EST Big Beach, was shot inside a vehicle in downtown Louisville on Sunday morning. The police reported to a reporter of a shooting and found Beach inside the vehicle with gunshot wounds. Beach was pronounced dead shortly after EMS arrived. Man, it's been real tough for ESTG over these last few years, man. He came out the gate really hot, was one of the most fire rappers on the scene. When you hear him rap, it sounds like he rapping about what he really been through. It don't sound like he rapping about what somebody told him, or it don't sound like he rapping about something that he watched from a distance. Hey, at the very least, ESTG was a third-person witness to everything that was happening within 5 feet away from everything that was happening. But I do believe that he went through all the things that he speak about in his music. Now, the biggest issue started for ESTG was they start asking him about his football career, and to the people from the streets, they understand that you can be in the streets, you can play basketball, you can play football, you can actually be good in school, and at some point, some people choose the streets, and some people say, I learned enough about the streets, and I'm gonna go and choose a better path, and then some people say, I'm gonna dibble and dab between both of them until one of them decide for me. So that's how it go, but that really gave him some bad publicity, and it kind of backed him down, and he walked out on an interview, and that kind of backed him down. And then we had the situation where Young Dolph got killed. We understand that, not saying that anybody or any party had anything to do with this, but we know that ESTG is signed to the label that was basically beefing with Young Dolph, so that kind of hurt his music career a little bit. Then it came out that one of his managers, one of the guys from ESTG, he ended up getting arrested, and he went to the feds for a little while. So, that gave him a little street credibility, like, wow, they still out here, or they was really moving and shaking because one of his partners done went down. ESTG has stood 10 toes down through all this. He's remained strong. He's tried to continue to move his career forward, and he dropped a couple of records, particularly the record with Yo Gotti that I thought was hard, but it didn't hit like it was supposed to, and obviously because of the Young Dolph situation. Not saying Yo Gotti had anything to do with the Young Dolph situation, just saying that when a rapper passes away and he was in a beef, the fans start to pick a side. But I think that for his first record back out, he should have had a different feature on it, maybe Future. I know 42 Duggs was locked up, but it could have been him. It could have even been Mozzie. I just don't think that was a smart career move. But to me, ESTG, he comes off as somebody who's loyal to a fault. He may know what's best for business, but he'll just say, man, I don't care about what these people think, and I'm gonna do it how I do it. But anyway, man, ESTG has taken a lot of losses and a lot of setbacks in his career. I think if anybody can power their way back to the top, it's him. But also with being able to have street ties and understanding that, sometimes it's easier to revert back to what you know when things get hard and what you don't really know. And for all of y'all who not understanding what I'm saying, he been a street guy longer than he been a rapper, so it may be easier for him to go back to that with some of the adversity. But I hope he don't revert back to his old ways, and I hope he continue to push forward and make the best of himself, man, and just let the death of ESTG Big Beach be a milestone in his life where he can have something that remotivate him and refocus him, and he can do everything in the name of keeping Big Beach name alive and, you know, honoring him. If you haven't heard by now, Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race, and he did the right thing, which was he supported Kamala Harris. He said, my fellow Democrats, I have decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's our time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. Now, two interesting things that's happened. Kamala Harris has had the biggest influx of donations ever in 24 hours. She got $81 million donated to her campaign. And then the second thing that we heard is like a lot of scandals, a lot of people talking about her past. And I think that helps her a lot. I think the Republicans are looking at it wrong. The Republicans are looking at it as if, hey, you know, these things being said about her career, they're going to hurt her. They're going to put her down. People are going to look at her different. But we live in a much more promiscuous world now where when people hear things about her and they hear these type of things, they might look at her, especially some of the more promiscuous women, and some of the men who like promiscuous women can look at her and say, hey, this is something great. This is something that I am really happy about. This is somebody that I can really get behind. Like, oh, this is a real human being. Now, it's a lot of bad things about Kamala that everybody is talking about, the laws and the things that she implemented in California. I don't want to get into that because I don't care which way y'all vote. God is in control. That's how I feel about it. So vote if you go vote. Do your due diligence. Figure out why you want to vote. But I don't want anybody voting for anybody for any dumb reasons. What's a dumb reason? Don't vote for them just because they're a Republican. Don't vote for them just because they're a Democrat. Don't vote for them just because they're a woman. Don't vote for them just because they're a man. Don't vote for them just because they're a wealthy man. Don't vote for them just because they're a woman who used to be a prosecutor. Vote for them based off of a bunch of things, but vote for them based off of principle, not personality. About a week ago, news came out that 50 Cent reached out to Tyler Perry for a little bit of mentorship. Now, if you don't know, Tyler Perry owns one of the biggest filming studios in Atlanta. And it basically houses the Tyler Perry Studios. That's what it's called. And all of his shows he shoot on that same lot. It's acres and acres and acres. The cool thing about it is that it used to be a Confederate camp, and now, you know, it's owned by a black man. If you don't know about the Confederate camp was the ones who were fighting in order to keep slavery intact. So that's why it's cool that he bought that. Now, to today's news, it came out that 50 Cent and Tyler Perry will be actually producing movies together. 50 Cent will definitely become a billionaire. And I like this move, right? Because this move will give 50 Cent the cachet and the relationship he needs to break further into the film industry. But it'll also give Tyler Perry that cachet in the hood. It'll make it cool for Tyler Perry to make movies. And whenever Tyler Perry makes a new movie and it comes out and people like the elements of it, or it got some street in it, or something violent or something disturbing, people will be able to say, man, I bet 50 Cent helped them with that. Even if 50 Cent had nothing to do with it, it'll just make people look at the project much differently because 50 Cent is attached to it. And on the other hand, when the studios see these things and they see that Tyler Perry has made it, they remember that, yo, everything Tyler Perry do, the black community flock to it, whether they like it or not. They talk about it. It's all promotion. We gonna get behind it. So they both give and take from each other. And this is a great thing for y'all to use in y'all everyday life. It's okay to be used, just don't be misused. That quote is, it's okay to be used, just don't be misused. And Tyler Perry and 50 Cent are using each other's resources in the correct way. And they doing so to help each other elevate and climb even higher in the film game. Blueface was given a bond in his Las Vegas case. He'll be given probation, so he'll be able to get out of jail, but he won't be able to get out right away because he has some pending charges in LA. And soon as he handled that situation, he'll definitely be out of jail. Just wanted to give y'all a quick update on that. The internet has definitely been quiet since Blueface has been away. I'm not gonna lie, man. He looks a little dejected by sitting in jail, and hopefully this time in jail will kind of help him change his personality, continue to be himself, but move a little more mature, move with a little more tact. He's constantly on the internet getting into it, and I understand he has a show on Zeus Network, and that thing is attached to a bag. So every time he's on the internet and it seems messy or something crazy is coming out, it works. But Blueface is still a talented rapper. He dropped a song a while ago. I can't remember what it was called, but it was something like telling the girl to wait or mind her business or something like that. But it was actually a pretty catchy song. And the song should have did better, but I felt like every time the song caught traction, something happened between him and Chris Sean Rock, and it kind of stepped on his song. The one thing about a street artist, right, a street rapper, you got to have your house in order. You got to have your image in order. So if your lady is allowed to step on things that you doing, or if your lady is allowed to talk any type of way to you, or if she's busting you upside the head with bottles, anything less than you establishing your authority in that relationship, and this is from a street perspective, everybody in the street kind of lose respect for the things that you saying, especially when you saying, I'm a pimp, I do this, I do that, I got my ladies in check. Nobody's believing that if your lady is actually on the internet dating other guys, going on dates, you getting on the internet saying you catching her cheating, you saying you don't believe the baby is yours. It actually looked like she's taking you through the ringer instead of you got things under control. But free Blueface. 50 Cent decided to link with Drake. He had a show in Canada. Now, we have to understand the phrase and explore the phrase, an enemy of my enemy is my friend. Now, when we look at Drake and 50 Cent, they have a common enemy, and that's Rick Ross. 50 Cent will never be friends with Rick Ross, and the way things have went, I believe that Drake will never be friends with Rick Ross again. So when 50 Cent took to his show, he basically clowned Rick Ross for being beat up while he was in Canada. He never officially got touched, but he got pressed, and he's supposed to be the rapper. He the street guy, so that's something to make fun of when you get pressed. In my personal opinion, Rick Ross should have had way more security. He underestimated the fans out there, and the fans out there, the guy who they say did is supposed to be an alleged rapper from out there, but people out there just trying to look to make a name any way they can. And in social media era, people will run up on you and force you to kill them just because they trying to make a name or they trying to be something that they not. But I like 50 Cent and Drake together, man. Hopefully some music come out of it. Maybe 50 Cent can produce a project with Drake, or maybe 50 Cent can get Drake into one of his shows. I think if he can get Drake into one of his shows, it'll be great. 50 Cent had Kendrick Lamar on Power. Maybe if he can get Drake in Power in the new one, Drake already got, acting credibility. He was already in the show Disgracie. That was a hit show. He was one of the star players on there. So I think it can be great for him. But we got to see what this turn into. But right now, this is just them linking up with the mutual hate of one person. So I wouldn't think too much of it. But I do like the fact that they linked up with each other. And I think it's going to be something great to come out of this in the future. Once again, This is Fairplay 2333 of Same Spit, Different Face podcast. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinions, you can start your own podcast. And if you do like my opinions, hit the subscribe button and you can follow me on all platforms. Check out my original Chicago hood movie in the end screen, No Time to Play Fair. Once again, this is Fairplay 2333 of Same Spit, Different Face podcast. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinions, you can start your own podcast. And if you do like my opinions, you can hit the subscribe button and follow me on all platforms. Peace.